like, oh, there's no courting, no whining and dining. I like you like me. It's like you feel it's the same way you approach women, and there's no what you call it? There's no walls, there's no lines, there's no boundaries, because men and men with the same type of mentality, they go all out. See, with a woman, she got class. No, you're gonna have to work for this. You just don't get it. It's not that easy. I'm not easy. You're not going to get it like that, because I respect my body. You know what I'm saying? So women have a different type of flair about them when they do it. You know what I'm saying? But now you have a new generation that's thinking like men, because they're taking on so much DNA. They got that same aggressiveness also. You feel me? So this is the between a homosexual and a homosexual, or a hermaphrodite, because a hermaphrodite is a person who has a physical deformity of having both organs. Because here's the thing, if you have a hermaphrodite child, and all your life you say, you know what, first child, can't wait to get that boy, right? But she may be saying, I can't wait to get that girl so I can have, go shopping and buy clothes. Everybody, you want your counterpart, you feel me? So as a daddy, your child come out as a hermaphrodite, and the doctor said, well, which one would you prefer to have? Now you got to talk to the wife like, she wanted a girl, you want a boy. So y'all came to agreement that you start overpowering, like, look, I need a son. You know what I'm saying? So she gives in to you, and you say, close up the vagina. I want to keep it as a boy. But you don't know how much hormones is leaning to which side. Is it leaning to the female side or leaning to the male side? You know what I'm saying? Then this child grows up, and you see more how this person said, I was born with both organs, but my parents said to give her to this right here, but I feel like, I'm attracted to men. But he got the penis, you feel me? And this is one of the things that happen in society. Now to go even a little bit more deeper, in ancient times, because you were like that, that gave you, it's like if you have a flashlight and you want to see in the dark, but it only takes 2 batteries, but you only got one, will you be able to see in the dark with one battery inside of one flashlight?
Not according to that flashlight.
Why?
Because it takes 2 for the cabin.
Why does it take 2? Because it needs more energy.
Yeah.
Now imagine a being born with both spirits. This is why you see a lot of homosexuals, their music is more flamboyant. They wear clothes. Come on, let's keep it real. We sit here and we say we're not homosexuals, we're not gay, but you like their style. You like their fashion sense, because when they look at colors, they see colors differently. This is what our master teacher had told us. Homosexual vibrate on different things, so everything is enhanced. They see it from both perspectives. You feel me? Male and female, and they see colors differently. A woman might watch a movie and say, oh, that movie was very touching. You might be like, oh, this movie is sappy. You feel me? But a homosexual will see both aspects of it. You feel me? So what happened is they have double portions. So this is a true hermaphrodite. Not physically, but in the spirit. And they have double portions. This portion was something that go back in ancient time that our master teacher taught about, that we call gatekeepers. And what these gatekeepers did, because they had so much energy of double portion, they were able to open vortexes to other galaxies or other dimensions. The Europeans knew this. So they started creating books like the Bible, the Quran, and said that homosexuals are bad and evil. They're going against God's will, right? You know what I mean? And they were slaughtering them because they didn't want these homosexuals to open up certain portals or certain wormholes. You feel me? This is the same thing that happened in ancient Egypt when Akhenaten, who was a hermaphrodite, and Nefertiti, who was a hermaphrodite, who had gave birth to a golden, not gave birth to, but one of the other, Akhenaten had another child by another woman who was a golden child. You feel me? In ancient time, 2 hermaphrodites and 2 hemorphodites. Write that down on the board. You know what I'm saying? You got a hermaphrodite, because you look at the word hermaphrodite, it's the word Hermes and Aphrodites. You know what I'm saying? But the way the Abedinum breaks it down now, you got her, H-E-R, and he, H-E, hemorphrodite, he and her. You know what I mean? Yeah. And what happened is you had 2 of those hemorphodites and 2 hermaphrodites and a golden child, and it opens up the Stargate. You call it the 5th element. And this movie talk about the 4 points, and the 5th one opened up the Stargate. You know what I'm saying? And if you look at movies like Stargate and 5th Element and so on, you see that the Europeans are always trying to stop these guys from opening up these vortexes, because they didn't want you to leave or bring anything in there. Because if you're being abused and you're being bullied by somebody in your neighborhood and you got a big family, the first thing you say is, somebody go to my house and go get my brother and them, because you're getting jumped. You hear me? So somebody will run in the house and then your whole family come out and these guys will leave. They don't want that same thing happening on a bigger scale of you open vortexes where you can actually leave and seek Satan or bring people from the other side to help you. You feel me? So the Europeans were condemning these homosexuals, and this is where your Sodom and Gomorrah story came into. They created these stories to make it seem like these people are so wicked and bad. But if that was the case, then why would God create them? And don't say the devil made them do it or came from the devil, because God cast the devil out of heaven. Is he not the all-knowing God? Does he not see everything before it happens?
Yep.
So he didn't know that one of his best angels was going to turn against him? You feel what I'm saying? So this is what we as Africans in America have been taught for the last 500 to 600 years. We're past the 400 mark. We've been here longer than that. But we have became the enemy in mind, spirit, and soul. So we think like them. You feel me?
Yes.
So does that answer your question? Or you need me to go a little bit more into it? Processing.
Let me hold that one right there.
Okay. Go ahead, my brother.
I had to keep it in the same line with what you were talking about as far as the woman, that she's pregnant, right?
Yeah.
You make her angry. She said, I can't take it no more.
Yeah.
That releases that testosterone within her. And that,
It depends on the mood.
okay, the mood.
If she's like in a warrior type, it's testosterone. And she's like in a feminine, like scared to death. It's estrogen.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say, whatever, but her emotional energy at that point will trigger either one of those chemicals, and then that will affect the gender of the child.
Exactly.
Let's go, my question then is, how or what triggers that female to emit the testosterone only if she isn't angry?
You said what? Did you hear earlier when I was talking about it?
Now, I came in when you were saying...
No. What happened is women are natural warriors also. You got to remember that, right?
Right.
Somebody came along. Well, matter of fact, if you go remember in the Black Book,
Right.
the woman used to do everything for herself. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Where she used to hunt and reproduce on her own, right?
Right.
I'm trying to find the scripture because it's in here in the Black Book where it goes in detail about that, right?
When she created him and she fell in love with that creation.
Yeah, but what happened is, I'm trying to find it real quick. It should be on this page right here. It was in the Black Book, question number 139, page 52. How did the women lose their role as gods and become subservient to her offspring, the male? Through her love and compassion would weaken her into submission. Women lost their rule when they grew to love their offspring, and thus through this emotion and love, it yielded to his rule. So why does the woman use man to reproduce? This serpent was upgraded by the creation of what's called steroids today. That would be the utilization of the reptilian strength, you hear me? Which is defined as the poison of the toad, and the male own testosterone fluid. This would speed up his metabolism, increase muscle strength, hair growth, body structure, making him a suitable work machine, hunter and slave. In time, she became attracted to his masculinity, and because of the fondness that the woman as God grew for man, she eventually wanted to give birth to the same genes as her offspring. And thus she used his genes to create a duplicate of him or her to make the blind closer. It was because of the total reptilian poison to overdeveloped muscular man as the use of steroid began to take on the appearance of an outstretched frog. As generation went on, the women depended on the male for reproduction, and she lost the knowledge of reproducing her own by giving the power to the man to protect and defend and hunt for her. Listen, I'm gonna say this with Quinn. Giving the power to the man to protect, that means that she's being protected. That means that at one time she was aggressive, where she didn't need the protection because she knew how to hold her own. Defend, and also to hunt, that means she actually hunt wild beasts as men would hunt beasts today. Eventually he turned his weapons, strength, and power on her, and he does to this day, and he ruled not by intellect but by brute force. Here's the question. I'm gonna go over it again. Eventually he turned his weapons. Now here's the question. In the streets, if you get into a fight, right, and you're a pretty decent fighter, but this guy's actually better fighter than you, 9 out of 10, what would happen if this guy get beat up by the other guy? What would be the retaliation?
Go get a weapon.
Exactly. A knife or what?
Gun.
Because he said, I can't beat you, but so the only way I can hurt you is by putting a weapon on you. So in order for this man to turn a weapon onto the woman, that means she must have been just on the equal plane, just as powerful as he was. Because if she wasn't, he wouldn't have to use a weapon. So that means that it was in her also to be aggressive. Because you got to remember that you're looking at human beings from a biblical and a Quranic point of view. When you go back into ancient Egypt and ancient Mesopotamia, these females were reptilians. You feel me? With dual natures, they can switch back from what? Exactly. You feel me? That means that she didn't need a man because she could reproduce on her own. So what happened is by you coming down on this female verbally, right, which would be almost like an act of force, will force her to switch from either male or female spiritually or emotionally to the point that she actually will have effect on the fetus. You feel me? So this is how she's able to trigger it. Because she has both natures.
Correct. But how does she do it? Or how does she know to do it? And how to trigger without anger?
Natural nature.
She just decides which child.
This way a woman can have, like our master teacher said before, a woman can actually decide to abort a baby and you won't even know. It's like she had a miscarriage. No, because she's not telling you that she didn't really want the baby. She said she wanted it, but in her subconscious mind she didn't want it. Because she's like, oh, I got to watch all these kids by myself while he goes out and play and do this and do that. And you know how women are, they want the attention, but they can't get you to pay attention to them when they got to breastfeed, feed the baby, put clothes on them. So in their mind, they sometimes cause the abortion themselves. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like, sometimes it's not a conscious thing, it's a subconscious thing. So you got to remember that at one time, the woman was dealing with consciousness, or men were dealing with full 100% consciousness. You feel me? Now that we don't use all the portions of our brain, we are forced to just be conscious. And sometimes when you need to learn or get a question answered, you have to wait till your brain work, overtime to find it in your subconscious to bring it forth. As the way I'm talking to you right now, I'm digging inside my subconscious, man, as we speak, from stuff that I was taught months, years ago, 15, 20 years ago, part of the bad man, that told me years ago, it never came out until someone asked me a particular question, and now I got to go into my subconscious mind, pull it out, and I'm moving at the speed of thought. You feel what I'm saying? So the woman does this naturally. It's just that because they are under the spell of Kingu, they are not aware of what they're doing. So once the woman becomes aware of what she's doing, she actually can control those hormones. But she's emotional because she has been indoctrinated by Roman antics for so long that she gets mad at you because you don't act compassionate enough or romantic enough because you're not acting like a Caucasian like Tom Hanks and Matthew McConaughey and Sandra Bullock and them because you're not being sweet. You feel me? Or nice, because her perception, she actually turned against her own African culture and ran to the white man culture and saying, I like that. But it doesn't work for you. This is why black women and black men do not get along, because it's fake emotions and we don't deal with each other like that. You feel what I'm saying? Because let's keep it real. At one time, black women in the 70s and 80s would never get oral sex. They're like, hell no, you better find some white woman for that. Remember that? But what happened is over the years, the black man started messing outside of his race and start messing with white women, that the black women start adapting these nasty tactics, you hear me? Of the Caucasians, of oral and anal sex that black women would even do back in the day. They look at you like, you crazy. You hear me? But now they do it because they're trying to keep up with the Joneses. So that's not in our nature to practice their culture, because that's the prime example. I know this because I was there in the 80s. Black women look at you like, you crazy, you ask me to do certain things like that. Like, you better get out my house. You hear me? They'll shut you down. But now it's like, it's required now. You hear me? You want that ring on the finger, you want me to take you to the movie, it's required. Now that they do it naturally because this is what they've been taught due to sexual perversions that come from the Caucasian society. And that ain't the only thing. They have us on so many levels on how we deal with our money, how we deal with religion, how we deal with life, how we deal with our children. You raise your children in African culture, and then next year you let them go to public school, your children becomes the idiot. Not because they stupid, it's because in this culture, they look at African culture as savagery. So then your children are being ridiculed for wearing dashikis and wearing murder braids and stuff like that in their hair, and the custom tradition that you practice as an African. These kids look at it like, oh, you crazy. Oh, that's stupid. You being suppressed. You missing out. You hear me? So the kids become traumatized, and they buckle under peer pressure, and then they start attacking their parents and their way of life, saying, "I don't want to be that. I want to be like the white man and drink all night and smoke and have sex all day and have fun." And they realize that later on, this stuff has an effect on your body, and then next these bodies are walking around saying, "I need somebody to drop me off at DeVita dialysis because I gotta." Purify my blood because I messed my kidneys up drinking all that Patron. You feel me? Or I need Viagra because I caught a sexually transmitted disease and I cured it, but it messed up. It gave me a dysfunctional erectile dysfunction. You feel me? Or my liver's bad because I drunk all that. Your whole body's messed up. And you look at the men now that's in their 40s. These guys are sick looking. They got guts hanging over their private parts, and they can barely walk because these guys party hard and mess their bodies up. And same thing with a lot of women. Women did the same thing because they just like, you only live once. I gotta have my fun now before I settle down. But then what I want you for? I want a nice woman that cared about her body and her chastity and kept her virginity. You telling me like I can't get with you now because you don't want to settle down with me. Because you want to go out there and experience life in the world, right? So you want to go out there and get pregnant by 4 different men, right? Catch venereal diseases. You're gaining weight. Your body, you're losing yourself. You're starting to become deformed. You got health issues, right? And then now, after you had all your fun and you destroyed your body, now you say, well, what's rekindle our relationship? I'm looking at you like my grandmother. You hear me? No, you look like an 85-year-old woman and you just turned 29. I'm not trying to hear that. No. But some men, because we're stuck in that Roman mentality of love, I still love you anyway, I still wanted you. And not looking at the real big picture, this person is already damaged. She got baggage. I don't trust you and give me a hard time because you don't do things the way you want to do. I didn't tell you to date 40 different dudes and go to the club and get all these baby daddies, but now you want to dog me as a man because I'm doing the right thing because I don't move the way you want to move. You got issues. This is probably why the other guys left you. But this is the mentality that our women have gotten when you practice foreign religions and cultures. You feel me? Any other questions? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I want to ask you, my father just passed away and I moved to Cincinnati to take care of him. But it's like I'm feeling like off balance. It's like I'm off balance, or I literally seen death with my father.
Yeah.
Took him from out the nursing home and brought him home.
Yeah.
And I used to go walking like in the mornings. And
Yeah.
he was a crow. They used to sit on the house. Now mind you, this is the city in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
This crow was like letting me know that my father was getting ready to pass.
Yeah.
And it's like I've seen. It's like I'm off balance, and
Because you saw him die.
Well, I think because of that process, but it's like I can feel a message or something. You know.
What happened? How close were you to your father?
I was real close.
All right,
I
let me
was his favorite child. I literally moved to Georgia
Uh-huh.
to get him from out the nursing home so that he could basically pass at home.
Yeah.
You know.
Let me see that book right there. This is the book called The Ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead, right? Reason why it's called The Ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead, because when they went into the tombs, right, they saw a bunch of dead people. It was called Coming Forth by Day. But they said, oh, this is the Book of the Dead. So out of this, right, the Caucasian created a new culture of death. And what happened is when you look at death is not as pretty as it was in ancient times. When you died, it was a celebration because you passed it from this state of existence into another existence. The physical body died, but you went into another plane of existence, and they knew that you was on the other side. This is why the Caucasians, when they went into these tombs, they didn't understand why would the Egyptians bury themselves with all their treasures and stuff like that, because the stuff will go onto the other side, esoterically. You hear me? And sometimes if they had to come back, it would be buried there for them to be able to survive in the next economy. Whether the economy is 1,000 years, 2,000 years, 100 years, or so on, because gold never loses value. When you look at the treasures that was buried in the tombs of King Tut, or Tutankhamun, right? He has billions of dollars. He had tombs of sarcophagus made of solid gold. So this being can actually come back to his offspring. But what happened is certain people beat the offspring to the punch before they even got a chance to find the treasures, and now they put it in museums. You feel what I'm saying? So death, in our time, when they buried you, they put a mask on you. You have certain priests that buried the dead, right? And they had a very elaborate ritual for 70 days, right? And when they put him in the tomb, inside the sarcophagus, they would put a mask made of gold over his face, so that when you saw it, he was still alive to you. You feel me? So when you see your dead, when you was looking at your relative with an open casket, we never did that, because you will remember your relative passing as if they were still alive. This was taught to us by Pt.2 Batman and Noon. But the way death is presented to us through horror movies, action movies, and cartoons, they make death look horrific. Like, oh, this person died a horrible death. He was in so much pain. You feel me? And then when you see your father die, this is all stuff that's in your subconscious mind from watching all these darn movies, and it's affected you. You feel me? But now he's on the other side, and he has the right knowledge, right wisdom, right understanding. No matter how his life was raised, whatever religion he's in, he's on the other side. Now he sees the big picture, what's really going on. So now his thing is he's trying to connect to you. You just got to turn the station onto his frequency and stop saying, oh, God, help me. You can actually talk to him, and he can actually guide you and help you to the right way.
Well, he told me that. He told me that. You know, I said, look, if you leave from here before I do, I may go before you.
Yeah.
You know, I want to open up a business. Would you help me? He said, yeah, you're going to do good.
Yeah.
He said, how far are we from Cincinnati?
Yeah.
He thinking we still in Georgia here.
Yeah.
I said, no, I'm in Cincinnati. I came home to you. But we had went home, and he asked me, I said, Daddy, how you been doing? He said, waiting on you. It was like he knew he was ready to leave from here.
Because what happened is, like our master teacher taught us years ago, right? He said when a person hits 40, right, you become an infant on the other side, which is called the etheric world. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And your etheric parents are actually waiting for you. You're actually inside of the womb of another being on the other side. You feel me? So the older you get, the more senile people say, oh, he's getting real senile because he's talking to himself. But he's not talking to himself. He's talking to the other side.
And I saw it 2 weeks straight. I saw the
You know what I'm saying?
coming to me. I stepped in the same room with him.
Yeah.
And his brothers, his mother, everyone that's done passed on.
Yeah.
Those people came to him.
Yeah, that he's because he's on the other side.
Yeah.
Even though he's here physically, his spirit is on the other side because he's older.
Yeah.
So remember they said, man shall live to be 120 years old. Because we eat and carry on with the structured behavior here on the planet Earth, we shorten our lifetime to the 40s, the 60s, to maybe 65 to 70 years old of the foods and the activities that we're performing that breaks our bodies down. You know what I'm saying? But we're supposed to leave at a certain time. Like our spirits are not supposed to leave the body until like 120. This is the way it was genetically programmed by the ancient scientists when they created man. You feel what I'm saying? So what happened is when he's older like that, he's already on the other side. It's just that the body ain't ready to go yet. But it's like, you ready here, but like it's still over here. You know what I'm saying? So he's making his peace with everybody on this side. You know what I'm saying? And by y'all having a connection, it's be even more powerful once you learn the rituals on how to communicate, where you can actually talk to him how I'm talking to you right now. That's how powerful we were in ancient Egypt. See, the Caucasians didn't understand how did we knew about this and knew about that and knew about the other side. You see, in ancient Egypt, we call it the underworld. The Caucasian call it hell. You feel me? In ancient Egypt, we call it duat. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't hell. It's like the other side. You know what I'm saying? But they didn't understand it because they never made it to the other side. We have. And this is how we're able to communicate about things that happen in so-called heaven, which we call the other side. It ain't up there, it's just the other side, you hear me? Another plane of existence, you hear me? And they're able to give you full detail about what happened on the other side. You can only find those records in ancient Babylon and ancient Egypt. Caucasian can't answer the question because they're dealing with these two dead books, and these two dead books don't go into detail about the other side. You feel me? So our people were so powerful that we had a connection, like man, how me and you having a conversation right now, this is how they had a conversation with that ancestors that passed away already. They still there on the other side. Said, we're waiting for you to come, but if you need anything, well, tell us and we'll make sure it happens. But you got to put an effort. It ain't gonna be like you just sit there and they just give it to you. You gotta make, like say you wanna make $5,000 in a week because you got to take care of something, right? You got to come up with something that can make $5,000. Don't mean that it's actually gonna make it, but you got to create an avenue where it can happen, and they will actually start working and different things to make certain things happen to make it gravitate towards you making that money. This is how it was in ancient times. They were able to work with us from the other side. The Caucasian knew this when he came into Egypt. Like, these guys are too powerful. No matter what type of weaponry we bring in to try to suppress them and take over their country, something happened to us and we're being defeated by 400 soldiers, and I got to lead an army of 20,000. How are we losing to these guys? And they have spears and swords, and we got guns and cannons. You feel me? So the Caucasian realized, okay, there's something going on higher than this. So what happened is he had to create this book right here and said, hey, don't mess with no familiar spirits. But the word familiar comes from, what's another word for familiar?
Family.
Your family. Hey, don't worship no idols. But those idols are nothing but carvings of your great-great-great-grandmother because they had no cameras back then. Now, if you got a picture of your great-great-grandmother, right, and it's the only picture you got, how precious is that to you? Huh?
Very.
So you pass it on to your great-great-grandchildren and say, no, this is my great-great-great-great-great-grandmother right here, right? And they can hold up and say, it's proudly, I got an image of her, right? Do that make that idol worship?
To me, it don't.
No, I'm just asking you, do that, right? Now, what if you didn't have a camera and I carved a picture of her, and her name is Ashet, but you call her Isis, you hear me? Or Asar, or Anubis, you know what I'm saying? Or Ra, or Ray, you hear me? And I passed it down from generation to generation to my children, and about, we'll say, 2,000 years later, they still got the statues, because there's no camera has been created, right? Then a white man comes in and sees these statues, hey, those are the Egyptian gods. So you're an idol worshiper. And you look at him like, no, these are my ancestors. But this is what the Caucasian does. According to our master teacher, partner battle, when you give them a meaning or definition of something that's in your culture that they don't understand, they'll take that and change the meaning around and say it means this. This is why we never gave them the meaning to the word Wu-nuwaupu. They always ask you, what does the word Wu-nuwaupu mean? Oh, we're not telling you. Because all you're going to do is not use the real definition and give it your own definition. And this is how confusion ends up in the English language, because we always have to go to them for a definition for a word that we don't understand. And then and then when you look at the definition, and then you look at the etymology of the word, and the language it came from ain't the same definition that's in the English. So they switch stuff around, and this is how they spellbound you from your ABCs to your 1, 2, 3s. So you're stuck in the spell of spelling. You hear me? So in ancient times, we was able to communicate with our ancestors like that. This is how we got certain technology. In ancient times, we were able to conquer certain parts of the planet Earth and also advance in medicine and scientific technology. You feel me? And did that answer your question, though?
But I want to ask you,
Yeah, go ahead.
the crow, do you think the crow, do they feel like an open vortex or something? I mean, it's like this,
Well,
this animal.
I don't know the situation there because I wasn't there.
Right.
But I also know that master teacher said that what happened is, because human beings are so emotional, it's hard for our ancestors to actually come in and take over your body and help you because of the drama you go through each day. Oh, I ain't paying my bill. Oh, I'm stressed out. Oh, is this nigga cheating on me? Where he at? The children need to be picked up. You got so much stuff going on that you're not in a state of calmness or peace. So you got so much stuff going on that they can't even do certain things for you because of the confusion inside your body alone. So it's easier for them to come to animals, because animals only deal with one type of nature, survival. They're not sitting there like, oh, my cell phone is due, or the rent is due, the water bill's due. Your dog, oh, I gotta go help me go to the bathroom. Dog, like, I need water, I go find a puddle. I use the bathroom, I pee on the tree. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm getting late for work, dog, like, I just find some food in the trash. They don't have to go through the different stuff that we go through our normal day of life, and we put so much emphasis on it, we cause ourselves to stress out. So it's easier for them to come through animals to try to communicate with you also and leave certain signs, and, so certain things happen. But not just your ancestors, sometimes it can be disagreeable beings also too. It depends on what station you're calling. You feel what I'm saying? This is why our master teacher has always emphasized, hold it up, to learn our language so we can get back into our natural tones. You feel me? So when you get back to your natural tones, then you're on the right station with your ancestors. Yeah, go ahead, sister.
Yes, in the book, Divisional Shift,
Yeah.
verse 184,
Hold on a second. Let me see.
186. You want me to read it or you want me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Each shift is a gateway you must pass. You and you, only you, do this. things that can hinder you. Love, greed, anger, lust, poor health, metals in your body, tattoos of lead, ink, things not natural to your matrix body, which can also be grafted, or fake fruits. Also fake foods like flesh or meat must have iron in it. You have to be clean inside out and outside in. You must correct your health. You can't pass through dimensions with your matrix physical body or emotional holding extra baggage.
What number was that again?
184 to 189.
Yeah, go ahead, keep reading.
Oh, I'm done right there.
Okay. You said
My
184?
question is on verse 186, because the first thing he said was love. And from when I'm reading it, I'm thinking that he's saying that, because the verse before that, he said, you only use the things that can hinder you. And then he said love. And I didn't think that love can hinder you unless, you know, I mean, I know it can, but I'm trying to really understand what kind of love he's talking about.
Fake love.
Oh,
So what happened is that we have a book, what's that book called? The Book of Love?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Well, Pop, what's it? Is it called the, you know, what's the name of that pot, that one that says, is it the Book of Love? It's a book called the Book of Love, if I'm not mistaken, right? Well, Pop actually break down the three different, was it 3 or 4 different forms of love?
12.
12.
Huh?
12.
There's 12 loves, right? The love that you have learned as an African in America is false because you associate your love of what the person does for you. You be sitting here, like I said before earlier, I was talking to sister about the movies, the novels. You feel me? The things that you associate with love, the music that you listen to. Why don't they just say, I want to make sex to you? No, I'll make love to you like boys and men, because everything they're talking about is still dealing with sex. So you thinking like, oh, what is making love? A man is putting inserting his penis into a woman's vagina and they're having a baby. What's love about that? Are you doing it for the love or are you doing it for the pleasure? Or do you love the pleasure? You feel me? So the whole thing is that, you know, people are caught up in a false thing of love, a European way of love. They don't have this different science, because love is a science. You hear me? And if you got different forms, that means it's dealing with, you know, a knowledge of different forms on how it deals with you, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. But what happened is you took a piece of all these right here and put in one and try to say, I want my man to do that for me. The love you have for your creator is different than the love you have for ice cream. You feel me? And the love you have for ice cream is different than the love you have for one of your children. But you put all this, and you put this all, these different emotions or different avenues or dimensions dealing with love as one thing, and then you put it towards the person, saying that if he doesn't give it to me, that means he doesn't love me because I don't receive it the same way. So now you're imposing your will on somebody else's emotions on how they should feel about you. You feel what I'm saying? And then, because he doesn't feel the way you feel about him, then y'all get into arguments. If he's taking care of you, he's taking care of the kids, he's putting food on your table, the bills are paid, you're not homeless, you know what I'm saying? How much love do you need? The actions speak louder than the words, but we want to hear the word, I love you. You hear me? That's what you say, oh yes. And that little tear goes down your eyes, and it goes down to your cheekbone, and it tings, and you get this big giant smile, Kool-Aid smile on your face like the Grinch, and you tell your girlfriend right there, yes, my man said he loved me. And they be like, ah. And women love that. And then 5 years later, I hate you. You hear me? Yeah, go ahead.
On verse 188, it said you must correct your health. So the person will have to be like, have no health problems at all.
Yeah. Yeah, but what about your mental health?
I'm saying, all of it.
Huh?
For the physical, come on.
I mean, health can be physical and it can be mental.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because like I said before, you might have no control of your emotions, right? And by you not having no control over your emotion, it affects your health. See, when you look at it, you think like, okay, I can't eat this slab of steak because it's gonna mess my body up, you know what I mean? But so I'm gonna eat this tofu, which is gonna mess your body up. You know what I'm saying? Because too much of anything is not good for you. You know what I'm saying? And put it like this, all foods are poison. It's about getting the food with the less poison But if you worked out, which I'm guilty of not doing, you hear me? You know what I'm saying, right? You can actually not get sick because you can eat crap. If you're working out every day, your body naturally burns the crap off anyway, but we don't do that. But the least amount of food, because the more food you eat, the more you kill yourself anyway. Food ages you. You know what I'm saying? So if you work out every day, like the master teacher said, work out as if your life depends on it, and eat foods that's not going to cause as much harm to your body, the exercise alone will balance everything else for you. But sometimes it's the things on how you deal with people, your patience, your tolerance level. You feel me? People get on your nerves. They can also cause like a lot of emotional problems, and the emotional problem has an effect on your health. You feel what I'm saying? As well as different foods that can mess your body up also. And you want to further ask any more questions after that, or you want to go further into that?
No, not right now. Somebody else can ask a question.
All right, go ahead, man.
All right, my question is coming out of Mind's Eye,
Yeah.
page 9.161.
Yeah.
Just in part where it says, you had enough insight, intelligence, intelligence, or some of those 27 telling you inside, wake up time has come, right?
Yeah.
So my question stems around the other 27.
What number is that you said?
Sure, it's verse 161, but it also can be,
You said 161?
yeah, or 96 through 110.
Okay, I got you.
Explains it on page 6.
I got you.
Right? But my question is dealing with these other personalities as we were taught. We understand the number starts at 30, you take away 1 for yourself.
Yeah.
9,
Uh-huh.
right? My question is, what about the children who transition before you pass? Don't they also have those personalities or voices, and then where do they go?
When you said the children, you talk about they died?
Yeah.
No, that got nothing to do. That has nothing to do with you because they're after you.
Okay, so.
Because your genetics is not a child. Your child genetics you didn't come from the child.
Right,
So that means that you are one of the personalities
for them.
for them. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't have until they told me until I pass on if I.
Exactly.
So the child that I had, that child passes on transition.
That child's job is to protect you. I mean, our master teacher broke it down years ago. You know what I'm saying? I was lost one of my child. You know what I'm saying? And he said that, they only need to be here for a short period of time.
Correct.
Some child just passed through.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? They said, okay, I had enough, and they just died. They didn't want to go to full.
Feel flashy.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And what happened is that child becomes your guardian.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So they protect you. As opposed to if you have parents that pass on the other side to protect you also. Because that's your blood link. Yeah.
All right, so did part of that even speak on those, say your child, like him, he didn't pass, he's sitting right here next to you.
Yeah.
He has his own personalities or voices.
That he develops while he's here on the planet.
So they develop as he age?
Yeah, because that's his personality. He's creating his own personality.
Correct.
But he has influences from your genetics. That's why sometimes he do certain things because of you, because it's in the genes.
Correct.
But over time, he'll actually start developing his own personality. And this is where y'all become the head. Because sometimes you be like, you want your son to be so much like you, but then he start becoming his own individual. And you be like, Dad, he's not listening to me. He's being hard-headed because he's developing.
So are they all still our relatives, just different ones, but he started developing likeness too?
Sometimes it depends on the comfort zone. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes certain relatives might do certain things in the genetics that you're actually comfortable with.
Correct.
Sometimes when people get intoxicated, they take over, and then people don't realize, okay, you were somebody else the other night, and then this morning you're back to yourself again. You feel me?
Right.
Because they took over your body
Right.
while you was in a comatose state. You know what I'm saying? Because you weakened yourself for them to take over for a minute, and then you don't remember anything because they were still occupying your same brain patterns. You feel me? So, because in the book of the mind's eye, you remember it says that when that person passes on, they actually start doing certain things. But now here's the question.
Yeah.
The reason why they say you may have some ancestors disagreeable or agreeable is think about this. Say you have a person like Jeffrey Dahmer. You know what I'm saying? He killed people. He ate them. Right?
Yeah.
Now say if he was able to go to the other side, you know what I'm saying? This is an example.
Right.
Right? And he had children, that's in their genetics. You hear me?
Right.
So he might get to the point where he can be powerful enough to start influencing certain things, and he might be in a situation, I feel like stabbing this dude. I feel like biting this guy. Like, you're gonna fight, and he's like, I just bit him for no reason. I know I can fight, but I just feel like biting him.
Something like
Exactly, you know what I'm saying? So this happens. It's like, where'd they come from? But if you know who Jeffrey Dahmer was, the people say that had to come from that Dahmer nigga. You hear me?
Right.
But now that you don't know your greats, because you didn't. I mean, even if you seen one of them that lived while you was a child, you wasn't there to analyze their moves and how they act. Only people that can really tell you about it is somebody who was actually older and say, yeah, your grandfather was a piece of work. You hear me?
You acted just like him.
Exactly. So my grandfather was actually a real mean person. That was my perception of him when I was younger. You hear me? But now that I'm older, I say, damn, you know what? My grandpa was pretty cool. Because now I'm in that same predicament, and I see where it comes from, because I can't tolerate bullcrap. And sometimes people think I'm being mean, but I see what my grandfather was doing, because he was like, and I'm thinking like, why he act like that? Everybody's like, he's just mean, but I see why. They were just on some, ain't feeling how they would feel. I mean, as a child, you want to be all nice and, but my grandpa was just real. You know what I'm saying? So he was that's just the way he was. But I see why I'm that way, because people will take advantage of you by you're just too mean, you need to be a little more nicer. Then you be nicer, then it's like, then they set you up and, you get suckered, and like, you just sign a card note what's that called, a sign? Cosign, exactly. Next you owe the money. They say, well, that's not my problem. And then, you want to beat the person up, but you can do about it because you signed the papers. You know what I'm saying? So this is what happens. Yeah. And with that, I'm going to pass the class over to my brother, Sekou Atunre.
Next question.
As a visual shift, verse 2:12, it says, yet you must know the ritual needed, the beings needed, the tones needed, with all the right persons at the right time and place, or all is in vain. Know this, that what can trap you is you, and to what you attach yourself or being.
What number was that again?
2:12 and 2:13. Dimensional shift.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, will we get to know the routes that's needed and the beings and the tones that's needed? Would that be something that would be taught?
Well, one of the main aspects of that is learning our language,
Okay.
which is why it's so important to master this language. We got till May 1st to be speaking Wu-Nuwaupu fluently. The gates of hell are going to open up on May 1st. The master teacher taught us that updates ago. We got to get this language. And second but not least, in fact, more importantly, we have to free our master teacher, because he's the only being that can point us in the right direction and show us which way to go. Without him, we have nothing. And the thing that he said, what he told us, the instructions we were given is love and unity will free me. And love and unity, this room should be packed. Wall to wall. You follow? It's love and unity that will free him. And that's the biggest problem that we have as Nuwaupians. Now we could talk, you could talk a good game all day. But what it really comes down to is love is a verb. And verb denotes action. So when we don't have the action that go along with the love and unity, then it's really just talk. And without love and unity, we are lost. Doesn't love have a certain vibration to it? Doesn't love have a tone? Sometimes love's tone is, you better get in here before I because you talk to your children because you don't want what's out there to get them. So you use your love in a way that may startle them a little bit, but it put a little fire on their to get them back in the house or to get them back under control. But love has a tone. Love has a vibration, and divine love has a divine vibration. And we have to get back on our language and get back on our tone and get back to knowing the principles of love. Otherwise, you wouldn't have to write a book on it. Otherwise, the master teacher wouldn't have had to come out with a book about love. Because even the Patarek, the 3 types of love, a lot of people still don't understand the importance of it. It's said literally without a shook. Everything you have done is in vain. You can master the language, You could be the best teacher. You could be donate all your money to Wu-nuwaupu. You could come here every day and put up everything in the temple. But without Ashuk, you won't, it's like everything you did was in vain. You should have never came, in fact it says you should have, it would have been better if you had never came upon myself, meaning upon the Babylon Nun, or Wu-nuwaupu. And it's like we really have to think about that. Because so much concentration is put on making us not love each other. Because we'll sit here all day, and go home and watch television. And when we come back here, all of those thoughts and subliminal things that's going on in that television is in us. And we downright have fights with each other. We have fights with each other in front of other people, which make it even worse because now the enemy know, all right, that's my doorway. I can attack right there. That's the weak spot. You know what I'm saying? The same way that a lion looks at all the cattle, like, you see the one limping? That's dinner. That's dinner tonight. You follow? And we don't realize how close we are to becoming dinner, literally. Because the war in the skies, as the master is telling us, is over them wanting to eat dark meat too. Keep on thinking they the only one on the menu. You know? Don't get on the menu because your vibration is off, is what I'm saying. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. We got to get back on track.
This is a real question, simple. I see now that the ankh that we're wearing has a double horizontal bar. I'm sure they spoke on it previously, but I need to hear for myself. What does that actually symbolize?
The double resurrection ankh, it symbolizes the first 30 years, or the first half hour, and the second 30 years, which make up the whole hour. From 1970, which was the breaking or the opening of the seventh seal, to 2000, and from 2000 to 2030. And it also symbolizes the master teacher being persecuted for us. You know what I'm saying? And our rebirth into Wu-nuwaupu. Follow? And us being in the time before, which was up to 2000, and now after 2000, after the devil's rule is up, we are now in the hereafter. So the double resurrection ankh symbolizes the time before and now in the hereafter.